It won't take you long on your FPV journey before you hear the phrase Cinewhoop, especially if you go into sort of paid or commercial work, as they are the sort of de facto quads for controlled cinematic flying, and they're used where other quads would either be unsafe or unpractical. So what is it? What is a Cinewhoop? Well, the idea has kind of evolved over the last couple of years, but I think the originator was Andy Shen when he designed the Shen Drone Squirt. He basically was trying to make a 3-inch quad that could carry a full-size GoPro. And the way he did that was he used ducts, similar to what you see on this. This is an iFlight Bumblebee. This is very similar to the Shen Drone Squirt. But the idea was the ducts give you extra thrust, but they also offer a secondary benefit, which is if you're flying around soft targets or things that could be damaged, then it gives them some protection because these acts as sort of prop guards as well. So that's the end of the story, right? We have these 3-inch ducted quads. They're designed to carry a full GoPro. That is what a Cinewhoop is. Well, not exactly. So meanwhile, on a separate track, there was this other community that were trying to decase GoPros and make them as light as possible so they can be used on smaller and smaller drones. And the naked Cinewhoop community was therefore born. It was the idea of getting the Cinewhoop style quad and a GoPro, but making the GoPro so light that the Cinewhoop frame can get smaller and smaller and the quad can get lighter. So this is where things get interesting, because you can see the GoPro on the front has basically been stripped down to its bare essentials and then given a little bit of TPU as a tiny bit of protection. But now the GoPro comes down from 150 grams down to about 29 grams. So that means that smaller builds are possible. So this one is a 2-inch. It even has a digital in, so digital, battery, GoPro Hero 6 Black, and it still comes in at under 250 grams, which is awesome. This was only really the beginning of the naked Cinewhoop community's inventions. There are a lot of people inventing things on there. I couldn't really shout out all the names, but I'll leave links to the Facebook group in the description, because if it is something you're interested in, then there's always work going on there, and there's a load of smart people on that group, including Umma, who designed this. So this is the Umma95x. And it's kind of another evolution again, because he is effectively taking what was already existed, which was the Beta85x, and sort of flipping it on its head, making it into a pusher quad, which means that everything is upside down. And yeah, and then attaching a naked GoPro Hero 6 Black onto the frame as well, and sort of embedding it into the frame. So you can see the whole thing is built with this clean and dirty section. So the whole top plate is mounted on these kind of TPU prints. And that means that it's kind of vibration resistant. Well, that's the idea anyway, is the top plate then is resistant to the vibrations that come from the bottom plate, which is where the motors are mounted. And this is where Beta FPV comes into the equation, because a lot of the naked Cinewhoop community were using the Beta85x and the 95x whoop style drones as the basis for these Cinewhoops. So they were doing a lot of the research and finding a lot of ways to use these frames in very creative ways. And Beta FPV, being quite a reactive company, shall we say, decided to capitalize on this. And they've recently brought out their own line of Cinewhoops based on the 85x and the 95x. And they sent me one. So they sent me an 85x V2, which looks like this. So you can see it does share a lot of things from Tommy's design. It's still a pusher, everything is upside down, and it has a clean and dirty plate as well, but it's a much sort of smaller thing just at the front here. This is designed to carry one of their GoPro Lite V2s, which looks like this. And this is pretty cool, actually. This is one thing that Beta FPV did that I was really impressed with. So everybody was hacking apart these naked GoPros and then sort of directly soldering onto the board, but they invented a way to not have to do that. So they basically invented this, which was a BEC board that just clips straight onto the GoPro using these little pin headers. It also has these little buttons on top, so you don't lose the ability to press buttons, which is really nice because you kind of need those. Then they made this really quite excellent injection molded plastic cover for it. And that gives you these little clicky buttons on the top. It has a little LED on the back as well, so you can see the recording status. And it is really easy to put a naked GoPro inside. It even leaves this sort of little connectors for the screen exposed, so that if you do it all and you forget to pair it with your phone, then you can still attach the screen when it's inside the case. I think this makes the idea of decasing GoPros just that so much easier, because you don't have to deal with any sort of hacking, soldering directly onto the board or anything like that. So now that's kind of where the story ends. It seems that the sort of naked GoPro community and the Cinewhoop community joined forces to create the naked Cinewhoop community. And they've kind of tried to make drones with the best of both worlds. They are light, they're small, their props are protected so you can use them around soft targets, and they can carry a full GoPro. although there's a bit of a caveat that the GoPro has to be taken apart and made incredibly light. So yeah, it's a really interesting space, I think, and we're going to test all these. I'm going to go out tomorrow and fly all 4 of the Cinewhoops that you've seen. So that's the iFlight Bumblebee, the Frame X ready to fly, the Umma95x custom built, and the Beta85x V2, which was provided by Beta85x. So thank you to them for making this video possible. We're going to start with the Bumblebee. I'm running a 1550 milliamp 4S on this, so this is the heaviest one of the lot by a long way. I think the all-up weight is probably close to about 600 grams. But yeah, let's take it around the block. It's only on 25 milliwatts though, the VTX is locked, so I won't be going too far with this one. Anyway, let's give it a go. I thought I was going to go straight into that hedge then. I can still hear a vibration in there. Yeah, it's oscillating like crazy. The first thing you notice when you fly quads like this with the ducts is that they are super loud in comparison to a normal sort of 5-inch or a smaller 2-inch. I think it just seems like it's like higher pitched and there's some kind of like, I don't know if it reverberates around the ducts or something.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of like similar weight to a 5-inch or like a light 5-inch at least, but they're only running like 2-inch smaller props in it.
That's true, yeah, that would be it.
They're gonna need a lot more thrust to take off and to hover.
Pros of this sort of setup is because you don't have to decase the GoPro or anything, it's very easy to like maintain it. If there's anything wrong with the GoPro, you can just swap it out, no issues there. You can run all the normal mounts that you have and the ND filters that you use on your 5-inch. So the flight time I'm getting out of this 1550 is pretty good. I'm still going strong, 3.5 minutes in.
What voltage are you at?
14.2.
All right, okay.
Yeah,
You're about time to come in then.
You're just saying that because it's your battery. the ability to change GoPro, or just like be able to use the GoPro with the screen instead of having to use a phone, like with the naked ones, is a big advantage. And
like you said, if something goes wrong, you can just swap it out. So you haven't got unless you have another decased GoPro.
Yeah, I think it's probably why all the pros use like the Squirt, because you want that peace of mind, really. Okay, I'll bring it in. Nice. We're going to start testing the naked ones now, starting out with this, which is the FPVFrame NakeX custom build. So this one comes in at 212 grams all at weight with the battery. We're using these 450 milliamp 4S batteries. So 212 grams, you're under the 250 limit and you're running a full GoPro. It's pretty cool. One nice thing about this Cinewhoop compared to the other 2 naked ones is that the GoPro still has the screen on the front. This adds a couple of extra grams, but I think it's worth it because of the sort of indicator that you get, and it gives you peace of mind that you know it's recording. So that is nice, but you'll see how the others operate later. So this is a 2-inch props, tiny little thing. Weighs nothing, but can still go. Can still pick up some good speed. But the nice thing is that it's pre-tuned by the guy that builds them, and it flies really nice. It's super stable in the air.
So it's a lot more aerodynamic, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, those big 3-inch ducted ones, I think all the extra foam and stuff just means that they're just super susceptible to wobbles and oscillations from wind and stuff. But this one does feel really nice. It kind of feels like super nimble compared to the other one now.
So much quieter as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the noise is really nice. Let's see how far I can go, because I'm on 700 now, so I should be able to go a bit further. Oh, there's the other lads.
Oi, that's what?
Gave us a wave. Nice. They'll be on the YouTube video now.
Yeah, they'll have to watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is really fun.
Better than the Bumblebee?
I mean, I think that it flies better than the Bumblebee, but how the footage comes out is another story.
It's definitely faster.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so light.
Yeah.
I'm never really more than about 50% on the throttle, which is really nice. It doesn't feel like you're having to push it too much.
And you're going to get the same sort of flight time out of a 450 than you are out of a 1500, right? 1550?
No, this is basically done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ESCs and that aren't set up for RPM filtering on this, so I think if you did that, you'd probably be able to extend your battery life a bit.
Tell it's flying nicely. It's a good tune.
Yeah, really good tune. made it through that tunnel. I mean, the fact it's one of the smallest ones as well means you just feel a little bit more confident hitting like stupid gaps.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, 11 volts, I'm not gonna be able to get on the table. Yeah. So here's one thing you have to remember with these though, is because the GoPro is powered from the battery, you have to remember to make sure you stop recording like that, else you will lose the last 30 seconds, because if you just pull the battery, the GoPro treats it as a corrupted file. So that's a little bit awkward. Yeah, top tip there, but it's also is a little bit of a, you know, if you did that in a professional shoot and you were just like, all right, yeah, mate, we're done. Uh-oh. And you lost some really crucial part of the shot.
Yeah, everyone has to reset, do the shot again.
Yeah, it would suck.
It would, yeah. Another advantage of the Bumblebee.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. Exactly. So this is the Umma95x. This is Tommy's design. A really cool feature of it is that the GoPro buttons are just these little, this is what I was talking about. The other one's quite nice. It's got a screen, you know when it's on, you know when it's recording. This one you're never really sure. There's a little LED on the side. Come on, for God's sake. It's not recording. I didn't see a light. Okay, there it is. I feel like it's in photo mode. So yeah, without getting the phone out, you don't really know what's going on. Oh, there we go. So, Umma95. So this feels kind of similar to the frame, FPV frame one that I just flew. I guess it's a very similar weight. I think it actually comes in a little bit lighter. I think the all-up weight of this one is 198 grams.
Right, so what's the advantage over this one to the other one?
The advantage?
Yeah, so why would you buy this over the other one?
Good question. So the nice thing about this one is that it's basically made from Beta85x stock parts. So if you have a 95X, you basically have 90% of what you need to make this build.
So you could like adapt your current one?
Exactly, yeah. There's a kit that Umma provides, which is like a conversion kit, I think he calls it, which basically is just the 3D printed parts and the top plate for the soft mounting.
Do you think the soft mounting makes a difference?
I have no idea. I mean, I assume he's done his homework because...
It's Tommy.
Yeah, he's Umma guy, and he would have tried it without, and I think it's basically just to get out the vibrations that REELSTEADY can't deal with. It's his tune as well, like he has a custom tune that he talks about in his build video, link in description of course, that yeah, there's a custom PID tune on that, and it does feel really nice. Flight time is reasonable. I mean, this is 2.5 minutes now and I'm hitting 14. So you probably get 3 minutes out of it with a normal sort of cine style flight. It's a fairly calm day today as well. I mean, it doesn't really give you a good impression of what these handle like in the wind, but it's safe to say that all of them suffer from any kind of strong wind.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to fly them in the wind at all, really.
No, the big one is just, there's too much surface area and it just catches the gusts, even though it's heavier. And the other ones, they're just too light. Oops. The GoPro is still recording, so you have to remember to press this button and just watch for the flashing light. Now we're going to test the Beta85x V2. So Beta FPV sent me this, and this is the lightest one of the bunch. That is because it is analog, so there's no digital VTX with this, but they do provide a digital version, but it's based on the 95X. So that would be very similar to the Umma build that we've got here. But this comes in at 154 grams all up weight, including the 450 milliamp battery, which is super light now. This is on the sort of toy level of lightness. This is kind of crazy. This is an interesting experience flying analog again, that's for sure. Seeing all those lovely little white lines over the image. I haven't missed them. It's flying okay though.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, this is flying all right. Building up some speed at the top there. I think there might be a bit of wind up there. I don't know if there's anything really outstanding about this over like the 95X. It feels very similar to that, which makes a lot of sense. They're all Beta FPV parts for both of them.
Yeah, right. Can you tell the weight difference when you're flying?
Not really. I mean, they're both sub 200, so I mean, they're both super light. Tune feels okay though. Doesn't seem to be any real issues with how it's flying. This one's got a quad blade on, which I guess is a little bit different.
Right.
They're smaller props, but they're quad blades, so they're probably a little bit sharper with a little bit less top speed. Okay, I just got a fucking failsafe. Bring it back. So that's interesting. This one fail-safed. I guess the antenna placement for the Crossfire is probably pretty shitty out of the factory. It doesn't have an Immortal T as well, it's just the little whisker cables.
Oh, right, okay.
And they're sort of strapped to the ducts, which I never think is a good idea. So this is with the naked GoPro at the moment. We do have an Insta360 Go mount for this, and I've got an Insta360 Go with me, so I'm going to try a bit of that as well. I'm just curious to see what this footage is going to look like on the old Insta360.
I wonder if it would be like better for certain platforms, like if you was to put videos on Instagram.
Yeah, true. My only concern with it is that there's no sort of manual control at all. So you can't change any of the settings like you can with the GoPro. You can't put on like, oops. You can't put on auto, like you can't lock the shutter, you can't change the ISO.
Right, okay.
None of that stuff.
So just on or off.
Yeah, it's point and shoot.
And then
like
they've got
literally.
their own app for post stuff, right?
That's right, yeah. Then you have to download it to the app and you can do all the sort of stabilization in that. 3 minutes 18 on the flight time. That's not too bad.
Is it more or less than the other one?
I think it's pretty much equivalent. I don't think there's really that much difference. I guess that extra, I don't know, 40 grams difference in weight doesn't really make that much difference to the flight time. But yeah, handle's good. Really nothing wrong with it. And I mean, we can real steady this footage. It's gonna look great. It feels weird to have such like a light, small, tiny thing be able to create such good footage. Well, assuming it's good. We'll see. To be honest, all the naked ones fly really good.
Yeah, they all seem quite similar. Like, they're all a similar sort of spec build.
Yeah,
they
are,
right?
they are, yeah. Of course, they're using the same batteries. They're all using 450 milliamp. They're all 4S. The motors are all roughly 5,000 kV. They've all got 12 amp ESCs. I mean, the only difference really is the frames and the kind of just the way that the GoPros are mounted and the sort of pros and cons with the different GoPros. In terms of that, I think the Umma95 has the worst sort of, the worst GoPro with the sort of exposed buttons.
It's built into the frame rather than it's like fully decased and assembled into the frame rather than.
I mean, there's pros to that, I suppose. I mean, you could say that he's done it because it's probably more aerodynamic. It doesn't have a big flat surface at the front of it.
Right. But did you notice that when you were flying it?
Not really, no. I mean, yeah. To be honest, they all fly so much better than the 3-inch kind of classic, true Cinewhoop style that we're used to.
Yeah,
like these.
Fat boys.
Yeah. I mean, these fly. Oh, it feels like you're fighting them all the time, whereas these you're just cutting through the air because they're so small. But they have the problem that the GoPros obviously are inconsistent. Yeah, right. You know, you're gonna have problems with, you know, you don't know if your SD's full. For example, if you put an SD card in it, you have no idea how much space is in it. You can use the phone app, and that's probably what you'd have to do if you wanted to use these in a professional sense. If you're going on a commercial shoot and you can only take one, which one do you take?
Bumblebee.
So you think the Bumblebee. Now I do, I mean, I know why. Like obviously the...
Yeah, because like if you took this on a commercial shoot and you can only take one drone for whatever reason, this is the most reliable.
Yeah, exactly, it's the reliability.
You can change the GoPro, you can put different GoPros in it.
Yeah, that's true. For me, this is pretty close. You can get into smaller places. There is a much easier time flying these than the 3-inch ones. I'd feel like I can make the footage look better with something that flies as good as one of these. But the 85X for me is probably the most interesting one because of how light it is. It's still analog, so you can get it on the cheap. Yeah. It is super cheap, and I don't know, you can use the 360 Go, you can use the naked camera. It's a nice little, just buy it once and then you've got everything you need. You don't need to worry.
Yeah, true, very true.
I don't know. But the Crossfire antenna mount, yeah, this was causing a problem. When flying the 85X V2, the Crossfire is just these little whisker antennas that they've put on by default, and they're just wrapping around the ducts. So I was getting fail-safes just going through one building or one tree, just like stage 1 fail-safes, but that's a problem. Yeah.
If you were indoors flying around, you know, anywhere, factory or whatever, then that's not going to help at all, is it? I think the only thing that would stop me taking something like this is the fact it's unreliable with footage.
Yeah.
If you could somehow make these decased GoPros reliable.
I mean, they kind of are. I don't know. Yeah.
Kind of are is not reliable.
That's true. Yeah. That's exactly the opposite of reliable. Yeah.
You know, that's all that's stopping me is the reliability of the HD camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Cool, man.
What are you doing there, man?
M&S need to step up their game. I'm all for saving the rainforest and stuff, but not having a fork in your pasta is just a nightmare. So, you know, tweezers, pasta, mouth, done. It actually works pretty decently.
What, you saying they should bundle tweezers with them then?